Welcome to Rock Solid, the Round Rock Business Leaders Podcast. Join your host, Brian Eisenberg, as he explores the journeys of entrepreneurs and companies across Round Rock, Texas. From startups and nonprofits to large organizations, each guest shares their passion for doing business in this thriving community. Let's dive in.
Hey everybody, it's Brian Eisenberg. Welcome to Rock Solid. I'm joined today by Jayme Shiarla. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
We actually met right here, just a few feet away, probably where this camera is staring at us, for an event that Brent had here for podcasts, because you also have a podcast as well.
Yes, correct.
Tell us a little bit about that podcast.
Yeah, so I always said that I would never have a podcast because I was like, how I feel about podcasts is how I feel about parties. Like, I'll go to it, but when it's time to leave, I want to leave. I don't want to have to force people out. So I didn't want all of the aftermath of a podcast. And so I was against it for a while and finally decided. And so the name of my podcast is Make Time for Your Mind with Coach Jayme. I am obsessed with call to actions. I think we live in a world that we don't have an information problem. We have an implementation problem.
Yes.
So I chat about a topic, but I challenge people's perspectives, and then I always leave each episode with, you take some time to think about that and then go do something with the information that you just heard, but think about it for yourself. So that's what it's about.
I love that, because the biggest challenge most people have in moving forward in their life, because they kind of stay on that, that Groundhog Day, that hamster wheel, day after day doing the same thing, is that they never take the time to challenge the perspective of their limiting beliefs.
Absolutely.
And it sounds like that's exactly what you're trying to get them to do.
Yeah, well, or it's just because we get so much information from everybody around us that the noise is what influences us, but we never actually stop to think, but wait, what do I actually think about that? It's just because somebody else told me that and I allowed that to be true.
Now, you've had an interesting journey getting to here. And I kind of want to go through that a little bit, because you have been a cheer coach, a cosmetologist, a massage therapist. You've been in sales, corporate job. And then you decided to dump all of it and become a mindset coach.
Yeah.
What was that moment when that paycheck got cut off and you were like, I'm going to build this business?
So what the interesting thing about it is, and you guys will learn, I have a quote for everything. I'm a big believer that we can only connect the dots looking backward. And ironically enough, I have been a coach of some sort my entire life.
Yeah.
I've played sports my entire life since I was 16. I was a gymnastics coach, a cheer coach. I coached special needs. Every role that I was in, I was always a leader, and I was everybody's biggest cheerleader. And so coach was kind of already a part of that. But I grew up in small town, middle of nowhere. We legitimately had bring your tractor to school day. So
nice.
Very, very small. But so for me, the concept of even being a life coach, I'm like, what? I don't know what that is. Our life coach was beer and football games, right? Where our team lost every Friday. But, to me, the coach was only when it came to athletics. So it's not like it was ever even something that was on my radar. And then life just continued to train me. And I happened to jump around to a lot of different professions and gained a lot of experience through all of that. And it was when Facebook ads were first becoming a thing. And I got to the gym early one morning, and randomly it was this sponsored ad based out of the UK about becoming a coach and NLP practitioner. And I was like, I have no idea what this means, but I'm drawn to it. And I've been a coach my whole life. Next thing I know, I'm sobbing like a baby to somebody based out of the UK and handing thousands of dollars over the phone. This is what I want to do. And I just took a leap of faith and never looked back.
Leap of faith. Yeah, that's the magic word, because I think, for any entrepreneur out there, whether they're coming from a corporate job or, they're even taking over a family business, there's that leap of faith that you have to have in order to believe that you're going to have some success.
Yeah.
What was that first moment you recognized you're going to have an impact on the world?
Oh, okay. So I'm going to start this with another quote. This is actually tattooed on me too. And the dandelion does not stop growing because it's told it is a weed. It says one day they'll be making wishes on me. I always, so you kind of heard the diversity of my professional life, but personally it's been all over the place too. Came from a broken home. I've lost people to murder, suicide, overdose, car accidents, cancer. I mean, I did hair on dead people. Like I attempted to end my life on multiple occasions. I was in abusive relationships. I had issues with drugs, alcohol, eating disorders. I was raped at one point. So like the school of hard knocks served me very well. And so as much as what I would even try to like give credit to myself of this big one gusto moment of making this decision, it has been like a trajectory of different tiny moments of me doing this over time that just kind of led to it. But like I knew chaos better than what I ever knew calm. And I've been working for myself since I was 18. So I kind of just didn't know it as anything different. So, in that, and with all of this, the adversity that I had faced, I just never wanted anybody else to have to feel as awful as I did. And so it was always my mission to be that ray of sunshine for everybody else. The Lord gave me a great deal of energy. Like I can't consume caffeine after 8 a.m. because the world would not approve of that. But yeah, and so I just naturally always had that gift of just being sunshine for people and motivating people and helping people through hard times because I had the wisdom to do so. So I think that I just kind of always knew that was there, but not to take credit for, but it's because I didn't want them to have to feel what I did.
Rock Solid is produced and recorded at Round Rock Studio. Located right here in Round Rock, our state-of-the-art studio is built for podcasters and creatives alike. We offer multiple professionally designed podcast sets, top-notch recording gear, and a full photography studio ready for any project. Whether you're launching a new podcast or upgrading your existing one, we can help with multi-camera recording, editing, and everything you need for success. Record with us at Round Rock Studio, your local podcasting partner.
But where did you find that strength to overcome so much of that adversity? Because, everybody goes through stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But, it sounds like it was piled on in excess. You definitely got dealt a hand that wasn't expected. Where did you find that strength?
Well, there's two things. One, the only way I'm even here is because of God. Like, I can't take credit for that because I shouldn't be here. I attempted to take myself out of this world, so I can't give myself credit for the strength. However, and I also think that one of the biggest things that ever motivated me was quotes. I get up at 4:03 a.m. every single morning. I love mornings. It's my favorite time of day. But it was quotes that kept me going. I used to have sticky notes scattered across like every single mirror and cupboard in my bathroom, kitchen, bedroom. I had dry erase marker quotes everywhere. Like words were the only thing that like helped motivate me to keep me going. And in all honesty, there was many times that like, because I've never been married, don't have kids. So it's not like I necessarily had people relying on me. So it really took a lot of just digging into like, I got to help someone somewhere. So I can't say it was out of any form of strength. It was just that I got to figure it out. And clearly the Lord used me in ways that I didn't even want to be a part of.
So if you wake up at 4:03 every morning,
Yes.
and you beat me because I'm usually a 5 o'clocker, but 4:03, very specific time.
Yes.
I'm sure it has meaning. We'll dig into that. But I'm more curious, when you woke up this morning at 4:03, knowing you were going to come here later this morning, what were the first words in your head this morning?
So typically, because I'm very, very big on my morning routine, the very first thing is, Lord, thank you so much for waking me up today. I am excited to see what you have planned. So that's what I try to always just lean into. And then even after I start my day with God, I always go straight to the gym. And so after all of that was done, I double checked what the workout was and was like, oof, okay, we're going to do that. And then we get to go do this podcast. So those are my first thoughts this morning.
Okay. So no crazy quote that came to your head as you woke up?
No.
See, I wake up in the morning and I tend to write because I have words that just
Nice.
have processed through
Love
the night, and I
that.
just need to get it down.
Love that.
And I'm curious because you love quotes, and you wrote a book about quotes and your take on quotes. And so I want to actually challenge you. One of my most quoted quotes that I've written over the years, somewhere over 3 million words that I've written, is our job as marketers is to understand how people. I'm blanking out on my own quote. How's this one? Our job as marketers is to understand how people want to buy and help them to do so. Mm-hmm. What would be Jayme's take on that quote?
I mean, I guess technically in a way this is still a sales strategy, but to me, the right people are always going to come to you. I have been the control freak that has forced to try to get people to buy or to do things. I did network marketing. I did hair. I did massage therapy. I sold life insurance. I'm building a clientele with, a coaching business, right? So there's so much of what has required me to go out and market and brand myself on that. And what I always realize is that if I have to try to force somebody to do it, more times than not, they won't do it. And so for me, I really think just showing up with the best value that I have to offer, and the people who recognize and would need that value will receive it. That would be my interpretation of that.
I think that's pretty spot on. And I'm curious because you mostly work on people's mindset, right? Mm-hmm. And where they are, especially people who've been very successful.
Yes.
That's your primary focus. I'm wondering if your past life as a coach in cosmetology and cheerleading, do you ever coach them on how they show up physically?
Oh, I think how we do one thing is how we do everything. And that's even like with me being a coach, I think it's super important to be a product of my own product. If I'm going to tell someone they need a coach, I better have a coach. And I always do. If I'm going to tell somebody that they should be very intentional about their habits and like doing the right things to live out this life of fulfillment, which they're lacking because of a lot of the high performers I work with, you're financially successful, but you're emotionally and you're relationally bankrupt. I have clients of mine who they are cheating in their marriage. They are, having porn addictions. They are struggling with drugs and alcohol, eating disorders, all of that. It's because they're running from their problems to these different vices to try to find temporary relief in that. And so for me, I think that we are given this body and we can't perform well if we're not stewarding that well. I will say that all the time, if I won't even take care of my own body, why would anybody genuinely trust that I can take care of theirs? Because I don't even respect my own, right? And so for me, I think it's very important. Now, I tell people if they need a fitness or a nutrition coach, I got a lineup of amazing coaches that I can send them to. If somebody wants to build their business, great coaches to send them to. But no, I'm here to help you with your mindset to start making the habits. And I'm not saying you got to go be this bodybuilder or get jacked. It's just, hey, let's properly take care of our bodies and fuel it well, physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually.
I don't know. There's a joke that runs through my head when I hear you talk about that. It's not funny, but it's this old gentleman's getting he's on his deathbed and he tells his wife he wants to take all his money with him, and so a few weeks later he passes, and so she writes him a check and puts it in the coffin.
Right.
But so many people think that the end goal of success is about everything that you accumulate, and you were earning a really good salary and decided that wasn't all you valued. Yeah. How do you help people get out of that mindset?
So first and foremost, and I believe this goes with anything, right? Even when I used to coach cheerleading, I would tell them all the time, I was like, listen, whether you have talent or not, I don't care. One thing that I can't teach you is heart. You got to be the one to show up. So first and foremost, I have to pre-qualify somebody. I can't want this more than you do. Yeah. If you're happy with running to your vices and you just want to keep making more money and think that once you do this and you have the highlight reels of what everybody is trying to show you is happiness on social media, keep doing that. But if you're realizing that isn't working, that's when you can come to me and we can do that. And then I like to joke and say that that's where I'm a termite and I dig into your brain and I'm going to challenge your perspectives and we're going to identify the thought patterns and the emotional attachments to those thought patterns and the belief systems. And once we start to get clarity on all of that, then that's when the rewiring process can take place. And then the final goal is to get sustainability and a new default wiring in the way you think and live out your life.
When you look at all these clients that you've worked with who've been so successful, there's obviously something that drives all that success. but there's probably something equally that leaves them empty in other ways.
100%.
What is that commonality between those two?
I always say it's the I'll be happy when syndrome.
Okay.
Is once I make this amount of money, then I'll be happy. When I achieve XYZ, once I close this deal, then I can breathe, and then I'll be able, and then when never comes, because they're constantly like chasing after a moving goalpost, which is great. But a lot of times, again, going deeper into that, it's the fear of not being valued unless they have those things. It's the fear of failure. Like realistically, even like the confidence level of like they don't know how to shut off from that because so much of their identity is invested into accomplishing XYZ, when at the end of the day, it's like, okay, you're doing all of that, and then it doesn't feel like you thought it was going to. And so now you're moving the goalpost to try to chase the next thing, and it's not working. And it's like, you have the work ethic, but if we can find a different motivator to that, like let's slow down a little bit so we can speed you up. There's a way that you can experience, like it's still going to suck at times, but you can experience joy in the moment now. And you can still strive for even more success in the future. But if you are chasing, thinking that there's going to be this monumental moment where everything comes together and finally makes sense, you are setting yourself up for a life of misery. And I actually did a discovery session a year and a half ago on a gentleman. He was 77 years old. And he had been in the auto industry since he was like 21 years old. Managed over 600 employees, always had taken like top 4% in the entire like company, 5 kids, married, all of them debt free. He owned multiple homes. He had been retired for like 7 years. And so, hearing all this type of stuff. And then I'm like, okay, sir, so why are we here? And he's like, well, my wife thinks I'm a lot. I think I'm a lot. And I don't really know like what I'm here for. And I was like, oh, is that just because the honeymoon phase wore off from the retirement? And he's like, the easy answer would be yes. But if I had to be honest with you, I have felt this way my entire life. I just happen to be really good at making money, and it was better than ending up in jail by choosing drugs and alcohol. So this man looked on paper like he had the American dream, and he missed so much of it and didn't realize it till 77. And that breaks my heart.
It's a long time to go with a lot of regret. That's, I mean, when I look at people like that, and it's funny, this has been a common theme all week long. I've been running into people, and they've been telling me how they struggle sleeping. It's one of the very common problems today.
1,000%.
People either who can't fall asleep, people who wake up multiple times at night. They think it's because they have to go to the bathroom, or they wake up early, or maybe too early. Just with random thoughts, without a purpose for doing that. And I wrote about it. So, I track it with my ring because I wanted to get that. One of the things that was important to me to get back in balance of my life is my sleep quality. But they run to the point where they get burnout. And I know you've experienced severe burnout. You were actually hospitalized for like a week, right?
Yeah, I'm bed rest for an entire week. Yeah,
bed rest for an entire week. And in today, social media, as you mentioned, and AI, what's the bigger risk? Why are people so overwhelmed that this burnout seems to be like just one camel's straw, and they're there?
This is beautiful. So what's been really cool as my coaching practice has evolved is that used to be the big phrase that I would use in my marketing of coaching people through burnout and everything. And I'm starting to reach this point where I'm like, I am so burnt out on hearing people talk about burnout. Like there's a sense of accountability that needs to happen here. And people are now just leaning into this trending topic and over sexualizing it. Like, hey, maybe it's just that you're really tired, or hey, maybe you just need to kind of suck it up and keep pushing.
It's the bro code. Come on.
Well, yeah, we're also like grind time, like we need to hustle, all of this. But the reason why so many people aren't sleeping, right? We can have all of these reasons for a quick fix. Everybody's like, oh, it's because you're not taking melatonin. It's because you're not drinking enough water. It's, you don't have your UV protectant glasses on when you're on your social media. No, the realistic aspect to this is people aren't stopping. Like our world is busier than ever before, and they're letting the world run them rather than them taking control of their own lives. Like whether you are an entrepreneur or not, you are the CEO of your own body. You are in, like, right? Like as a parent, you will control when your kid goes to bed, but why won't you do that for yourself? If your sleep is super inconsistent, okay, already that's going to throw that off. If you're eating like trash, if you're overwhelming yourself with doom scrolling, because this is like my favorite nerd fact. Oh my gosh. Okay. We think anywhere between like 40 to 60,000 thoughts a day, 80% of which are negative, and 90% of those carry over into the next day. So you're not even aware of that, right? Like you don't have to think, oh, when I'm brushing, or when I'm tying my shoes or brushing my teeth, that I have to think of like, which muscles am I going to engage to get this to my mouth or to start looping and swooping and pulling, right? You just naturally know how. So if there's all of these underlying anxious thoughts that are happening, like no wonder you're freaking out and no wonder you're burning out and unable to sleep. So one super simple fix that everybody avoids is stop. Get away from social media. Sit in silence.
Rest and restore.
You can listen to this podcast, but don't for a moment, and sit in silence and not use background noise. Don't try to fidget and find something that needs to be done. Sit and actually organize your thoughts. Like, why am I here? What do I enjoy doing? Why am I putting myself through this? Am I happy? What makes me happy? What doesn't make me happy? Right? Like nobody slows down to simply just do that. So no wonder you're burning out. No wonder you can't sleep. Like this is my Sour Patch Kid moment. Oh, like you guys just got me all amped up right now. My Sour Patch Kid moment. Like take accountability of your own life. Like you're allowing everything you're consuming to make you miserable, but you have the ability to do it. You just have to do it.
It's pretty simple when you say it that way.
Yes.
Now, I'm very curious because you're not originally from the area, but you moved down to the area, to the Central Texas area. And when you first started your business, was there a person or an event that started your journey into the community and getting so connected with the community?
No, I have the gift of gab. And so I was originally from Ohio, but I moved here from Connecticut. And when I launched my coaching business, I actually launched it outside of the country because that was kind of where I was doing my certification. So I started connecting. I am a serial connector. I love connecting people. So I kind of had already started doing that. And when I moved here, please go ahead. You guys can judge me, but don't. I am very geographically challenged. Okay. Like, I promise I'm an intellectual person, just not when it comes to geography. I didn't even know that Austin was a thriving city.
Okay.
Like, I signed a lease over the phone, gave away everything that didn't fit in my car, loaded up my dog, and just showed up. Like, I didn't know.
At least you brought the dog.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I didn't know anyone, anything. I just showed up, and I've always joked, even in other industries that I was building, like my coaching or my businesses in, is if someone would be like, oh, where's your office? And I'm like, a coffee shop near you. I have just always had the ability to go reach out and connect with people. And so that's what I did. And that's what I still do. So
what's that mindset trick for those who might be listening to this? And one of the reasons we started the podcast is because some people don't get out and meet people. And we're hoping that at least through the podcast, they can meet some interesting authors and speakers and coaches and stuff like that and business owners. What's that little mindset trick that you would coach them through to help them get out there and connect more?
I guess my question would first have to be for them. Like, I don't take anything at face value because I think there's no quick fix to anything. Like, what is the biggest thing that's stopping them from that? Like, is it just genuinely that they're like an introvert and they don't know how to put themselves out there? Is it that they're really struggling with something within their business and so they feel inadequate to ask for what it is that they need? I think there's a couple different layers to it, but like, honestly, I think the best thing, I forget, oh my gosh, Carlos something. It was a really cool strategy that I remember hearing years ago that he had like a YouTube channel on that he talked about. And he's like, find ways to like strengthen your rejection muscle. So he was like, my goal that I created every single day was like 10 times a day, I wanted to purposely do something that I knew I was going to get rejected for. So he'd go up to the the barista at the coffee shop and be like, hey, I heard today you guys are knocking 13 cents off of people's coffees. And they're like, what? No. Right? Like something so bizarre and out of it, but it was like building the endurance around the rejection muscle. Like, again, I know it sounds super simple, doesn't mean that it's easy, but like you just have to do it. Like practice is what's going to create progress. But like if you just sit in this analysis paralysis and don't do anything, like it's not going to get any better. So yes, I could come up with all these really cool strategies, but the biggest thing that I could do is encourage you to just want to go out and rip the Band-Aid and be courageous and try it.
And most of us don't bite terribly. So yeah, just show up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just that simple.
Yes.
We can go on forever.
I know.
But if people have more questions for you, they want to connect with you, they want to read your book. Instagram is fabulous. Tell them how to find you.
Yeah, I put all of it there for a reason. Feel free to cyberstalk me. So I'm the Jayme with no eyes, Jayme. You can find my website, coachjayme.com. I have boundaries courses. I have my book. I have like a free quiz for if you're a high performer with avoidance things. So you can do all that fun stuff. Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, anything that you'd like, just cyberstalk. Jayme with a Y and no eyes.
The eyes in the last name, but silent. But yes,
just Google it and then have fun.
Awesome. Jayme, thank you so much for your time today.
You.